Ooh, that is the wrong time to ask if we have an open for the show, Tom.
Oh, baby. We here. Oh, we here. The first episode of GPS in the new year.
And it's going to be a good year, Tom, because on our first episode, we get to talk about Antonio Brown.
That's it.
The savior of my YouTube channel. Oh, wow. What a weekend of football. Week 17, we get a week 18. We are forced to have a week 18.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, there's so much to talk about. Your Packers clinch. They clinch. Boom. Against a Kirk Cousins-less Vikings team, which Cousins gets a lot of hate because he's a stat guy, not really a win guy. But we saw how much better he is than the other options the Vikings have. Oh, sorry, I interrupted. I was just excited about Antonio Brown. Finished the Open. We didn't even get to the title of this show.
People don't even know what the show's name is.
What is this show called? And why
this
is
the
GPS?
Grossi Perna Show, otherwise known in the club as G. P.
Ooh, boom.
I'm Grossi Brandon Perna, and oh yeah, the first Sunday, not even the first Sunday, the first slate of games gave us about 3 days of content to talk about. Because you have Antonio, and that's the best thing is, like, I don't think anyone even realized the Titans demolished the Dolphins yesterday because the entire story was about Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
So much was happening, and I look back and I'm like, wow, the Dolphins got their ass kicked. And it just completely went under the radar because once that happened, everything was off the table. And so we're going to jump into that. We'll talk about the clinching. We'll talk about the Broncos. We'll run through each of the games. We're going to talk about Mike Zimmer. We'll talk about everything, folks. And by everything, do you want everything? Do you want the world at your fingertips?
You know what? This is a great segue, Tom. I'm assuming this was going to be a setup for DraftKings Sportsbook.
It was, yes.
Guess who cost me my stacked prop bet yesterday?
Was it Aaron Rodgers?
Not Kitty goes meow. No. It would be one Antonio Brown. Anytime touchdown scorer. Antonio Brown. That's what I get for betting on Antonio Brown, by the way. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is the best way to do your sports betting. Use code GPS when you sign up over at DraftKings. Link in the description to take you to DraftKings. GPS, if you use that code, DraftKings gonna match your first time deposit of up to $1,000. And now new customers can bet just $5 on any football team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. That's free. And if you don't roll the R, you don't get the money. That's not true. You don't have to roll it. You don't have to roll it. DraftKings is safe, secure, reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. And every DraftKings ad we read here will have Kitty shaking its tail. And you'll be shaking your tail when you win big. All right, Tom.
Kitty goes meow.
Kitty goes meow.
All right, before we talk about Kitty goes meow, before we endeavor into Kitty goes meow, I want to talk about my Green Bay Packers first, real quick.
Sure.
Because let me
talk
get
about
it
football.
out. There's a lot of There's a lot of thanks, Jacob. There's a lot of Green Bay Packers things that I want to talk about. 1337 is all about the Kitty Goes Meow train right now. All right, first of all, the news that broke way before the Packers game was one Ian Rappaport coming out and saying that the Packers are likely going to franchise tag Davante Adams.
Yes, I saw that, Tom, and I thought,
Yes.
oh, crap. That means Aaron Rodgers is going to stay in Green Bay, because no way would Green Bay sign Davante Adams, who says he doesn't really want to be there without Aaron Rodgers, if they didn't think they could get Aaron Rodgers to come back.
So there's a saga that's going on here, because earlier in August, so during training camp, they asked Davante Adams straight up. They said, would Aaron Rodgers returning impact your decision? And at first he was like, that's my guy. It would have like an impact on it. But he also said blatantly no if he wasn't the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. And so that was a big point of contention, because he thinks that he deserves his money. And honestly, completely agree with him. Oh yeah, Gallo, we'll talk about the Giants negative 10 yards, 100%. So they came out with the franchise tag. Now, here's the problem with that, Brandon Perna. Right now, the Green Bay Packers, their cap space is not looking too sexy. It's not looking too good. Next year, they are going to, right now, they're over $40 million over the cap before the season has even started. Okay.
Oh, that's like how much cap space the Broncos have, $40 million next year.
Yeah. So the issue is that franchise tagging Davante Adams, which who knows if he even play on the franchise tag, but franchise tag would cost $20 million. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's no way that could work right now. And so I went over to Mr. Ken Ingalls, who's who's the cap space wizard over for the Packers. In order for that to work, a way that they could franchise tag Davante Adams, they would have to restructure with voided years Kenny Clark, Aaron Jones, David Bakhtiari, who they all just gave contracts to. They would have to extend Jair Alexander, which is already going to be the case, and Preston Smith. They would have to cut Zadarius Smith, Billy Turner, Mason Crosby, Mercedes Lewis, and Randall Cobb. They would have to sign a total of 0 players. They would have a 35-player roster, $600,000 of space before the deadline. It's not happening because you can't field a team with only 35 players. And so he keeps on going and says, okay, if they do 9 complete max restructures, cut 4 veterans, extend Rodgers, Jair, and Preston, franchise tag Adams, and cut Billy Turner after June 1st, it would only leave $2 million and no other players could come back. In short, folks, it's not happening.
Wow.
They don't have the money for it. So
Tom,
I don't
just put Rappaport in his place.
It's not happening. So there is potential that he could come back, but the only way that it's coming back is if it's a brand new contract and they're kicking that can way down the road. So a franchise tag for Davante Adams, I say, is basically not going to happen at all. That's one. Again, could still come back because they definitely want to sign him. But
yeah, why would you not want to sign Aaron Rodgers' favorite player?
Exactly. So
even if Rodgers doesn't come back, that's a nice spite move. Guess who has your favorite player? We do still. We do.
I mean, listen, it'd be great to develop Jordan Love with Davante frickin' Adams, right? You have a number one wide receiver, a number 1 left tackle, and David Bakhtiari. It would be great. So that was before the game even started. Then what winds up happening is, of course, you have the game. Before that, you had the Cardinals game, which we'll talk about, but the Cardinals beating the Cowboys. So sending the Cowboys way down to the pits of despair, which was great. And a whole lot of people complaining about the refs, which was even better. And I'm talking about players and coaches. But Packers wind up beating the pants off the Vikings. Okay. Fair. Offensive line looks great. Aaron Rodgers continues to rock. Is not throwing any picks, which is real good. They clinch it back-to-back, clinching the number 1 seed. They are now the only team in the NFC to ever have that first seed in this new playoff format. True story. Matt LaFleur back-to-back-to-back 13-win seasons, only coach in NFL history to do it. Suck it, Belichick. And the Packers are freaking rocking and rolling. So
I'm clinching a number 2 seed right now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you are. That's all that bench warmer brew.
Oh, benchwarmerbrew.com. Oh, here's a good shameless plug. This morning, I was up very early before the baby even woke up.
Whoa.
And bench warmer, I have beans. I get my whole beans and I got to grind them, and that's loud. So this morning I had to make some off-brand coffee. And, you know, I made a cup of it. And then after she woke up, I made bench warmer. So I had a side-by-side taste of a coffee I bought from the store. And I was really proud of my coffee. I was like, oh, my God, my coffee really does taste way better than the shit I bought at the store. So bench warmer brew.
Anyway. There's something I wanted to talk about not related to the Green Bay Packers. And Adam, Minnesota Vikings man 28, actually brought this to my attention because he put it in the mod chat. And I saw it and I said, holy crap. Because last night you saw Mannion going in there and not great. The bigger question was, by the way, why the hell is Dalvin Cook only running for 13 yards? I thought that they literally would just feed him the ball every single freaking fracking day. They only carried it 9 times. Mannion actually finished as their leading rusher with 14 yards.
Wow.
So I don't know what the game plan was. But more importantly, for a hot second, the hottest of seconds, Kellen Mond, rookie QB, came in.
Yep.
He threw 3 passes. They weren't good. Got 5 yards. They weren't good. But what was asked to Mike Zimmer after the game and said, hey, you want to see a little bit more of Kellen Mond? And this was his response.
Do you think you want to get a look at Mond next week?
Not particularly.
Mike, why don't you want to get a look at him?
I see him every day.
Wow, Mike Zimmer. Ooh, Mike Zimmer. That's not a good head coach. I'll just say that right now.
Dude.
2 reasons. He throws his frigging third-string quarterback under the bus for no reason at all. Now, some coaches think this is going to motivate him. Bad coaching move. 2, your game plan against the Packers, like you just pointed out, Tom, with a good week to prep. Like, you had time to prep without Kirk Cousins. You knew this was coming. And unlike Bill Belichick, who said, you know what, we're going to go into Buffalo and we're just going to run the ball with this win. We're just going to keep running it. We don't care how many times we run it. Vikings played to the opposite of their strength and put the ball in Sean Mannion's hands instead of leaning on Dalvin Cook. Now, the Packers did a good job against Cook, but you got to believe a guy like Cook will wear them down a bit, that he's going to start breaking off some runs. Something is like, I know Vikings fans want Mike Zimmer fired. Like, is he actually on the hot seat in Minnesota though? Like,
yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. I mean, again, I say extend him for at least another 10 years. Let him but that's just for me. Like, this is why coach speak exists. And I know it drives like fans insane because they're like, oh my God, the coaches, like, they talk like politicians, right? They say a whole lot, but it really doesn't say anything, etc. And every single coach does it. That's why guys like Dan Campbell, right? They are like praised, and because they're seen as like outliers because they're very emotional, they're speaking from the heart, etc., etc., etc. But this is not, that's one, that's not coach speak, but 2, that is, like you said, that's just bad coaching. Because if you're Kellen Mond listening to that, or honestly any other player in the locker room, like, I don't think that's a motivator for you to like go above and beyond and literally bury that man, which they did, because he said, not only do I not want to see him next week, I see him every single day, basically saying, listen, he just sucks. Dustin, I completely agree. By the way,
Justin,
great shirt you got on there in your profile pic, Dustin. Sorry, what'd you say, Perna?
I said, Dustin, thanks for jumping in my stream yesterday.
There you go.
Gave me a hundo. Dustin gave me a hundo yesterday.
Dustin be rocking. But yeah, that was like brutal. So I feel like he has to be gone because, and it's not just because of that, obviously, but yeah, you just like don't do, like, you can hold your players accountable. Like, this was like, remember when Sean McVay, I agree, Ramza. Remember when Sean McVay like threw Jared Goff under the bus a little bit, basically saying like he had needed to play better, whatever. And people were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they said that about Jared Goff. This is a million times worse what he said about Kellen Mond."
It's different too, I think, when you're a head coach and you're kind of criticizing one of your starting guys, one of your leaders who maybe hasn't been playing as well, and you're kind of asking them to step up a little bit because I think you assume those guys can handle it. And you assume, like, if they're not playing up to par, that maybe they need to hear a little criticism to get them going. Like, just saying that about a guy who hasn't started a single game in the league, and he might be terrible at practice. He did not look good with one series, which you can't judge a guy for. But it's weird to do that to a guy who hasn't made a name for himself in the NFL, hasn't been able to put together a body of work. It's strange. And Vikings fans on Twitter have been taunting me because our GM, George Payton, came over from Minnesota. So they've been taunting me, saying that Mike Zimmer's going to be my next head coach here in Denver and that Kirk Cousins is going to be my quarterback. And I swear to God, if either of those things happen, I will lose my freaking mind because Vic Fangio.
You love the Vikings, remember? You love them, Perna. You said it so many times. You love them.
I don't want their scraps, their chopped liver. Fangio, 2 weeks ago, after the Broncos got worked by the Raiders, he didn't throw Drew Lock under the bus directly, but they're asking about the offense. He said, I have nothing good to say about the offense after, it put up 10 points against the Raiders. There's like hardly any yards. And people are like, oh my God, he just directly called out Drew Lock. He didn't even do what was even close to what Zimmer did.
No, not even close.
I've watched, Drew Lock not get a fair shake really in Denver, but I've also watched horrible coaching. I've watched so many things go wrong.
Yeah.
So I feel what Vikings fans are probably feeling right now, which is just frustration because there's so much talent on the Vikings offense and their defense has played better than I think we thought they would this year. So yeah, it's wasted. And Zimmer, just another head coach who probably doesn't deserve the criticism he gets, but he's never been on the level that he needs to be as a head coach to truly take the Vikings past their hump. And that hump is getting bigger.
Let me put it this way. Their fourth leading receiver was their center last night.
Yeah, dude, that catch. It was so good.
I loved it.
It was maybe the best play of the game for the Vikings. And also, Chris Collinsworth was so excited about the catch. He was like laughing and he was like, I hope that other guy's not hurt, but God, this is a great play.
Oh, yeah, because he got jacked. He got lit up. But yeah, Bradbury. All right, let's talk about the thing that everyone wants to talk about because it's already in the chat. It was all in my chat yesterday, too. And I know you got some thoughts, Brandon Perna. Let's talk about Antonio Brown. Okay.
Antonio Brown.
Yes.
If you didn't see, he exited the Jets-Buccaneers game early, took off his pads, took off his shirt, danced in the end zone to cheer the crowd, and then left. And everybody lost their mind because it was AB doing AB stuff. Okay? We blamed AB.
See you later.
Said he was acting like a child. That's still true. Today we learned the reason he exited in such dramatic fashion is because Bruce Arians told him he was off the team basically right then and there. They were asking him to go into the game. Antonio Brown says he didn't want to go in the game because his ankle hurt, which is fine. You got an injury, don't want to play through it. That's your choice as a player. AB, apparently, the Bucs coaching staff didn't believe him. There's some trust issues there, which I can't imagine why. So Bruce Arians said, you're done. Get out. Get off the field. You're done. That's why AB reacted the way he did. Maybe Bruce Arians didn't handle that situation in the moment as best as he could have. And now the Buccaneers will be without Antonio Brown. Wasn't allowed to fly home with the team.
No.
As Tom put in the rundown, apparently he asked security at the stadium for a ride to the airport. They said no.
Yeah.
And he's gone. He's done in Tampa. And now the question is he done in the NFL? I think so. I don't think any team would be smart or wise to sign him. And it's tragic in that AB was even given another chance to play in the NFL. He got to win a Super Bowl. And I think he got a little too confident in his ability to do whatever the hell he wanted without considering anybody else, which is his history. And it caught up to him. It caught up to him in Tampa, even with Tom Brady defending him at every turn, Tom Brady being in his corner, and the team being better when he's on the field. Like, that's the thing. And the amount of people in sports media that I saw today and last night asking for us to be empathetic to Antonio Brown, frankly, made me sick, Tom. Made me sick because those same people were awfully quiet, at least to my recollection, when Antonio Brown was accused of sexual assault, was sued for sexual assault, a case he settled. He settled that. So no admission of guilt, but no not being proved to be innocent. Wanted it to go away. And you can have your thoughts about that. But I feel like my personal opinion about Antonio Brown is he's not a good person. And maybe he does have mental health issues. I don't know that. I'm not a freaking doctor. I can't evaluate him. And I think you should be very sympathetic to anybody struggling with mental health issues. But I don't think that takes away the responsibility Antonio Brown has to be a decent person. And every chance he's been given, he's done the opposite of that. So I don't need to be told to feel bad for AB. That's what made me like, what are we doing? What are we doing in defending him? If I'm wrong, Tom, if I'm not seeing something, please shed some light for me.
I think I think that your stance on that isn't incorrect. I mean, you feel how you want to feel. I think that because actually Tom Brady said something like in the afterwards, and I thought what he said was actually kind of like poignant, and I actually didn't disagree with him, but he was just like, yeah, like I think you're witnessing something that's just not great, and like hope he gets like the help. I think that Antonio Brown, like you've seen every single meme possible, right? You've seen all the memes. It obviously is like crushing it out there with numbers. People are clicking on it nonstop. And there's also, because this happened in my chat a million times, right? They were talking about Vontez Burfict, like how he got hit. They're like, oh, is this CTE or whatever? I don't know. Just like Perna says, like, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not going to speculate on that because that's something I know absolutely nothing about in terms of like, being able to diagnose what that is. Right. I do think that there is kind of a glorification of Antonio Brown's behavior right now. And I think that that's gross because I think it was gross that, let me put it this way. I got heat for this too, because I said this on a predictions episode, because Bruce Arians was like, you have one shot and you're out, right? He said that when they first brought AB on board.
Yeah.
And then he faked a vaccine card. And then they brought him back because they needed a good football player and all their other football players got hurt. And I basically said that Bruce Arians was a coward by bringing him back because he went back on his word because he just needed him to play good football.
Yeah.
And once Antonio Brown didn't play that good football and refused to go in after being asked to twice, well, then he didn't serve a purpose anymore. So I think that this was handled so poorly by everyone involved. When Antonio Brown was able to like kind of like stay out of trouble and play football, okay, then that's the team's prerogative to do that. But now that he's not able to do that, he's like worthless. And now what he is like, he's used for clicks and all that stuff. So I think if this person has mental health issues, the glorification of like his drama, I think is gross. And I think like that shouldn't be there. I also think based off of his past, like you said, Perna, like I think it's you don't need to have empathy for Antonio Brown. I think that, you need to take a look at what his record is. Can people change? 100%. But I don't think, after the pictures he's posted, he dropped a rap song afterwards. Like, I don't think that there's much learned from that. But yeah, I think this whole situation is just kind of bad, like all the way around. Bad.
Yeah, it's ugly, and it's. I feel like there have been too many people around him that have enabled him.
Oh God, yes.
And the only thing like I really care about, because I don't care about Antonio Brown, but he has kids, right? And I hope for their sake, if there's something going on, he figures out a way to be a somewhat mentally healthy and productive person, because like it's not fair to them. And if you've watched AB over the years and you've seen some of the live Instagram things he's done while going berserk in front of his kids towards his wife or girlfriend, I forget who it is, like it's why I feel like he shouldn't have been given like another chance in the league, because he's demonstrated so many times to be horrible to other people, to do things only that are self-serving. So it is ugly, and it's, there's a lot of people there, but that's like every situation that's bad in sports or outside of it. It's like, if you want to look at all the bad things that have happened off the field, there are tons of people affected. You're talking about the story. You're talking about how it relates to football. It goes beyond that, but it's weird. It's crazy. It just is like, there's so much we don't know. It's hard to comment on it because you don't want to say something that looks stupid later because you didn't take time to evaluate it properly. I hope I'm not doing that by not giving him leeway, but I just don't think he deserves it at this point. And
I would be shocked if another team gives him a chance. Like,
oh my God,
I had people act.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Jaguars do,
because they're like, hey,
like, I don't know. But anyway, we can move on from that. I will
say though, give a lot of credit to Tom Brady. That last drive was phenomenal. Like that last drive that he orchestrated against the Jets was really good.
Oh my God, not you, Tom.
It's just the last
drive.
It
was against the Jets.
No, I know.
It was against the Jets.
I didn't say the whole game. I just said the last drive. That's it. Just the last drive. God. That was a really nice. It was a really pretty, like from a football standpoint, last drive. That's all it was.
Knife
That's
in the
it.
back.
You know what? Now you deserve Kirk Cousins. Now I have no sympathy when Kirk Cousins comes knocking on your plexiglass door. And
you know what AB really did is he saved the world from criticizing Tom Brady for almost losing to the Jets. That's what happened. He did Brady a favor. He saw Tom at his lowest, trailing the Jets by like 2 scores. He said, I'm going to take the heat off Tom. I'm going to give the audience a show, and I'm going to walk out of here so nobody criticizes Tom Brady for almost losing to the Jets. They did win, but it wasn't the Jets.
Which, by the way, I think it just reinforces the fact that like the Rams, they barely beat the Ravens. The Buccaneers would have lost to the Jets if the Jets were like, hey, maybe we shouldn't sneak it on 4th and 2. Like, maybe we should just kick the field goal and, like, get out of here.
Yes.
Like,
what team, like,
good idea.
2 yards out, you run a QB sneak against the toughest run defense in the league with Zach Wilson? What are you doing?
Perna.
Whoa.
You got a hundo.
Cooper Eisenberg. Thank you, sir.
There you go. Perna.
Thank you, Cooper.
Do you want to do it?
Oh, hindsight.
I mean, the Jaguars did have a rough schedule, yeah.
Or am I smoking copium? It might be a mix of both. I think Trevor Lawrence has played really bad, even for a rookie. I don't think he was coached properly. But, yeah, maybe part of the reason the Jags are horrible or a tough schedule. And honestly, they're in a position to greatly improve their team with a solid draft pick. They need a coach. Jags fans need and deserve copium. And deserve it.
Honestly, they're inconsistent. But you know what is consistent, Brandon Perna?
Johnny John John! Woo!
Always.
Scooter Elway, baby.
Always comes in time of need. Always.
Maybe you'll be consistent on DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Code GPS. When you sign up at DraftKings, they're going to match your first deposit of up to $1,000. And this week, you can bet $5 on any football team to win their game. Packers, that's an interesting game to bet on because, Jordan Love's starting for Green Bay this week?
There's maybe. Because Rodgers said, he's going to probably play. And then LaFleur's like, we got to see. So
interesting. There's some games that will mean nothing. There's some games that will mean everything, but you can bet $5. If that team wins their game, you win $200 in free bets. And then with the free bets, it's where you really make your money because you're playing with house money. Do your crazy parlays with the free bets. Do your stack your props. Just don't put Antonio Brown in your prop bets like I did because he might leave the game unexpectedly. He wasn't the only reason I lost, but that's the one I'm going to remember. That's the one. Code GPS. DraftKings supports this show. And if you want to do sports betting and you want to support the show, do your sports betting through DraftKings with our code, the bro code.
P-S. Nailed it.
Ooh, legalize your state might do it.
All right. I want to talk about another game in particular, and that is the Arizona Cardinals defeating the Dallas Cowboys.
Woo! Talk about players smoking copium. Might be the Cowboys players.
Dude, so I've compiled a bunch of quotes here.
This was great, Tom. I loved you putting this in the rundown.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So, because here's the thing. The officials, once again, had kind of the backlash of the fans from two franchises yesterday. One, Chiefs fans were not happy. Patrick Mahomes' fiance, not happy. And there was there was a really bad defensive PI call. There was a really bad one. Hands to the face, it was there, but could go either way. But I don't think I've ever seen such a coordinated complaining about the refs from a team than the Dallas Cowboys yesterday. And it wasn't just players. It was coaches. It was Jerry Jones. And let me just give you a taste of some of the things that they said here. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. It's just we couldn't get a rhythm. The refs wouldn't let us get a rhythm. Okay. Pocket that one. Hold on to that one.
I hate when the refs don't let me get a rhythm.
Yep. Hold on to that one. Okay. By the way, this is also the fourth time this season the Cowboys have had double-digit penalties. Neither here nor there. Okay.
Yeah. Mike McCarthy.
Jerry Jones coming in. This group calls a lot of ticky-tack, Jones said. Catching himself before adding, they call a lot of penalties, and that was going to be a concern for us today. Okay.
Wow.
Randy Gregory playing against the refs again, like usual. It seems like an every week occurrence. And one more. And this is my favorite one, Brandon Perna. Ready? I just don't understand how with the technology we have nowadays, even if we don't have timeouts or whatever it may be, to call a fracking challenge, and challenge it. It's so obvious. So that's coming from another Cowboys player who was complaining about how they couldn't challenge the fumble at the end of the game because Mike McCarthy wasted a timeout earlier. And it's a throwaway line. Say, even if we don't have timeouts or whatever, that ain't the technology, buddy. That ain't the tech. You know what that is? That's your coach not knowing how to have time management. That's what that is. That blew my mind.
The weird thing there with the rule is like officials review all turnovers, right? It's a booth review of a turnover.
Yeah.
But if it's a possible turnover that's not called a turnover, they don't review it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a flaw within the system there. Not to give the Cowboys players, too much credit, because Mike McCarthy always kind of had issues with time management, these sort of things. But is there any more? Is there any more quotes here, Tom?
That was Van Der Esch, by the way, who said that last one. But like, it was just funny because I do think his knee was down anyway. But it's funny because we could complain about the refs, and I think that there's some validity to that. The amount of flags was ridiculous. However, the Cowboys, I mean, I know this from the Chargers game, good God. And then the Raiders game on Thanksgiving, like, they're not a very well disciplined team. I think there's that. And on top of that, you just look at the complaining about the rules, like time management is part of the football game. Like that's on McCarthy and it's being like, hey, well, we have a timeout, so we're not gonna be able to challenge anything. That's kind of how it is. So I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
Much they freaked out.
122 penalties this year for the Cowboys. Raiders are second with 120. Texans 110. Bills 109. Who's the best? Oh my gosh, it's the Cincinnati Bengals at 68. Then the Packers at 69.
Yeah.
Broncos top 5 was 77.
Nice.
But I was trying to find out how many flags have been called this year. It feels like
a billion.
In total, more than last year.
Probably is.
If I can, I'm going to see if I can find that.
But yeah, so Cowboys losing though, against the Cardinals, who needed that win. Like definitely needed that win. I did, yeah. Cliff called. Yep, he did, exactly. He called that play on 4th down, and it made McCarthy use his timeout. That's part of the game. Like that's another layer of the game. If you can make your opponent waste their timeouts or like how to manage your timeouts, like that's part of football. Like that's just another layer and another level of football. So, I'm sorry, Van Der Esch, if you're complaining that maybe your coach should have been more prepared on 4th down. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, maybe your coach isn't that good.
It's when people are saying Mike McCarthy coach of the year. I'm like, guys, like I don't think he's as bad as people say, but
no,
like, come on.
I think he would be a bad head coach if he didn't have
the talent,
an all-star roster.
Yeah. And Dak played pretty well, but they had no run game. Zeke had 16 yards. Dak was their leading rusher. I mean, the Cardinals did, though there was a lot of tip passes too. Like Dak kept getting his passes batted down. Oh, Kirsten says that there's 3,068 flags this year.
Oh, where did you find that, Kirsten? How many were in 2020? So there's 3,068 this year. How many in 2020?
I would imagine there's more. But anyway, so the Cardinals avoiding not losing the division or avoiding losing the division. There we go. Because the Rams were able to pull off a squeaked out a win. We have over 3,000 people in here, by the way.
Woo!
Squeaking out a win against the Ravens. And so Grandpa Cardinal's still alive. And the Rams are playing the 49ers. NFLpenalties.com, Perna.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sounds like a very
now
convenient
give me
site.
the number for 2020 because I don't want to look it up.
Show me the number. But yeah, and I'm going to say like the Cardinals didn't play amazing football, but they did enough. Christian Kirk looked pretty good. AJ Green turned around. Oh, so we're all 29-8. Yeah, there we go. So we already got
about
more this season.
70 more flags this year.
Yeah.
Whoa, 3,600. Maybe that includes the postseason last year, though. Anyway, it does feel like there's more flags. Definitely more taunting. Sorry, you were talking about the Cardinals.
Yeah, that number 3,600 includes playoff games as well.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. So I think big win for the Cardinals. We're on a 3-game losing streak against the Cowboys. And I know you've been very sus about the Cowboys for quite some time. You're like, I don't really feel comfortable putting up my power rankings, even though they're smacking the Washington football team.
Until the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
I was like, this defense is legit. I'm going to give the Cowboys the credit they deserve. And what do? They pull a Tom Grossi and stab me in the back. Because of the Tom Brady thing earlier. Backstabber.
From you getting Kirk Cousins? I mean,
No,
you've been talking about getting my current QB for quite some time, I feel like.
I know. I was actually thinking yesterday because I thought like Rodgers was. I saw the Devontae Adams thing. I was like, oh, they're going to get Rodgers back, right? They're going to get Aaron Rodgers back. I was like, it was kind of mean of me to really want Tom's QB so bad. Like, I would feel bad for you not having Aaron Rodgers. Like, I know how hard it is to watch a team without a really good quarterback because I've been doing it for so long. Like, I don't wish that on Tom. I don't wish that on his team. I mean, I still want Aaron Rodgers, and I would still maybe like, I don't know, if I had to like kidnap somebody and hold that person prisoner just to get Rodgers, I would do it. Yeah. But like, so my want for him doesn't outweigh my feelings of sympathy for you, but they're there. I just want you to know that they would be there. And I was thinking about it yesterday, man. If I got Rodgers and the Broncos were really good and the Packers, were middling, I would feel bad for you. That's all I'm saying.
So you're saying...
I mean, I feel really good for myself, but it's still bad for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, let's talk about it. Packers clinch the number 1 overall seed, lock up home field advantage. The Broncos did the opposite.
Yeah, I wanted them to lose.
They clinched home field advantage, though, because they're going to be home the whole time.
Yep.
Whole time, throughout the playoffs. Nice. Throughout the playoffs.
Nice. I made a video, my preview is like why we should root for the Broncos to lose. They lost because we want to get top 10 draft pick. We might need that capital to get Sir Aaron Rodgers. Queen Russell Wilson. Don't care who it is. They are royalty. I'll take either one. But it wasn't just that they lost, Tom. The problems with this team reared their ugly heads. And the Broncos finally got the COVID bug. They had so many starters out. It was, we've seen it, though. I didn't expect them to play well, but their defense did play well again. And that goes unnoticed when your team gets their ass kicked eventually. They were keeping the Broncos in the game. And no, Jerry Jeudy wasn't there. Tim Patrick wasn't there. 2 linemen weren't in the game. But Drew Lock still had Cortland Sutton, who he targeted, which was nice. You still got 2 tight ends in Noah Fant and Alberto. Kendall Hinton played well. But here's the trifecta of pain. Offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur. Just another terrible game plan. Another, we can't score from first and goal. First and goal, can't put the ball in. They call a reverse flea flicker on 4th and goal.
That's what you want.
They complete it, even though the play was almost blown up, and they still don't score. So yeah, Shurmur, game plan, garbage. Special teams, who've been an issue for the Broncos. They muff a punt, and then they give up a kick return for a touchdown. Just when it looked like they might get back into the game. And the kicker, whoever tells this team to challenge plays has the worst eyes in all of football. Because they challenge a play where Austin Eckler is clearly not down, and they lose another challenge. The Broncos were in a goal situation again. It was 4th and 1. They were going to go for it. And then they score. They score the touchdown. Called back for illegal formation. And then they decide, 4th and 5, too much. Let's just settle for the field goal. Like, the thought process for a team that has nothing to lose to settle for a field goal in a meaningless friggin' game is just beyond me. And now I thought maybe Fangio had a chance to coach for his job. Fangio's going to be gone. Pat Shurmur's going to be gone. Tom McMahon's going to be gone. I don't know which good coaches are going to survive, but it feels like an overhaul for the Broncos is coming, and rightfully so.
I think you are completely missing the mark. Because you know what? You talk about all these bad things, but you did not talk about the return of the glorious one.
Hell yeah. Hall of Famer Kendall Hinton.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that 100%?
Yeah.
Of his passes completed? 100. Let's look at that again. Drew Lock didn't complete 100% of his passes. The man had to play QB last year. You know what this is called? That's improvement, baby. That's improvement.
Guess who he completed that pass to?
What did he do?
Drew Lock.
Well, maybe he's just
that was the 4th down that didn't score a touchdown. Drew Lock was tackled short of the end zone. It was a disastrous play from the start. Hinton barely got the ball out. Drew Lock made a hell of a catch, but it still didn't work. The first time Shurmur shows some creativity. Also, Ben Albright reported that players have gone to Pat Shurmur saying like some of these things aren't working on offense. And he basically told them, I'm the coach. I coach the plays. You execute the plays. That's the kind of coach he is. Idiot.
I'm just saying, Kendall Hinton, Hall of Fame? Maybe. Just
he's already in. He's already in.
Yeah. I do want, by the way, that sets up a really fun game because the Raiders able to pull off a W against the Indianapolis Colts in dramatic fashion. Colts losing the AFC South, giving it to the Titans, and the Titans now the number 1 seed with the Chiefs losing. We will talk about the Chiefs and the kitty goes meow. But the big thing is now next Sunday night, you got Chargers and Raiders, and it's basically a playoff game. Win and you're in. Lose, you go home.
I might have to F around and stream that game, Tom. That Sunday night game.
Tom Grossi's streaming that game.
I don't know. Maybe we do it together. I don't know.
You want to, I don't know. You want to like, maybe.
Because the Broncos got to play on Saturday, so my Sunday wide open. And that game is going to be interesting. Here's something. The Titans, now the number 1 seed again, got to be the least talked about. Number 1 seed ever in the history of football. And there are good reasons for it. I saw a lot of people saying Mike Vrabel should be a coach of the year candidate. I think that's fair. I think that's friggin' fair because he's navigated just a disastrous season in terms of injuries for the Titans. And they should get Derrick Henry back this week to knock off the rust, quote. If their offense is good in the playoffs, they could be in the Super Bowl. I would have picked the Colts to be a dark horse, but Carson Wentz played like caca yesterday. So did Derek Carr, but
and Derek Carr didn't play well either.
What's Wentz like? You can't rely on Carson Wentz. He's not elevating the team at all right now. So yeah, I like the Titans. The Chiefs are dangerous, but Tennessee, they managed the lows, and at times they looked really bad in some losses.
Yeah.
Hell, if they would have just beat the Jets back in October, they would have clinched probably the home field advantage. But damn, I don't want to play the Titans at home. If Derrick Henry's in the lineup, they got AJ Green back or AJ Brown back. One of those guys needs to switch from a color as the last name.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, so the Raiders, because like the Raiders didn't play amazingly well, but got it done against a very hot Colts team. They've been on a roll recently. And I do want to talk about the Chiefs because that game, I wanted to actually stream that game, but it would have been on a delay, so it wouldn't have worked out. But that game was insane on all metrics. The offense, the Chiefs were like, remember when we had a good defense? Come on in. Like that, Jamar Chase, 266 yards. Remember when he had that midseason lull? He's like, don't worry, I just made up for that. I just made up for 3 games worth. Kitty.
He had more receiving yards than Mahomes had passing yards. Think about that. And that's a game, the Chiefs scored, 31 points?
31.
The game was awesome. And I'm not just saying that because the Chiefs eventually lost and that brought me joy. It was the most fun game of the weekend to watch. Jamar Chase is special.
He is.
3 TDs to go with 266. Burrow, 4? How many have? 4. Where's the Burrow number? 4. Damn it. 446.
Look at that.
446.
971 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2 games.
There it is.
That's wild.
There it is. Joe B. And it looked like the Chiefs might run away with it. And I tweeted the Bengals are a legit offensive line away from being a true contender. Might have tweeted that a little prematurely, but I think if that line gets better, we may. And this is like something you say to get people riled up. We may have watched the passing of the torch in the AFC from the Chiefs being the most explosive offense to the Bengals.
With an offensive line, I agree. Like, I think they still need it. By the way, I've made an executive decision about this show, Perna. I hope that's okay.
Sure.
GMass, thank you for the fitty for the kitty.
Fitty for
and
the
I
kitty.
think since we have the fitty for the kitty, right? We have the Scooter Elway for the hundo. We need to lock in what our fitty is going to be. So do you want it to be Go Chargers Go, or this other clip that I saw that you uploaded? Because that's a pretty good one.
Hey.
I kind of like that one. I kind of like that one.
Hey, Fitty.
Hey. It's
The crowd like responding to him is the best part of it.
It's amazing.
I think it was like he had to be like checking his mic, like hey, making sure it was working. But it's
Hey.
hey.
So yeah, but the Chiefs fans were upset because especially on that last drive, and I was nervous too because Joe Burrow got hurt and actually got knocked out of the game, which was like super scary. They decided to go for it on 4th down. They're like, hey, balls to the wall, let's go for it. They had offsetting penalties, so they had to redo it. Then you had hands to the face on the Chiefs, which extended that drive. Then they were able to just kneel it, and then they wound up sealing the game. But that was ballsy by the Bengals. And because of that, they are now AFC North champions, beating the Chiefs. Kitty goes meow. Tom Grossi creates it early this year. Now they won their division. Coincidence? I think not.
You willed it. You willed it into reality.
Kitty goes meow. Yes. But yeah, super happy for the Bengals though, because like they're a really fun team to watch, and I really do think like they build up that offensive line. They're gonna be, because they have the running back in Joe Mixon. They have so many receiving threats in T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Boyd does well. Like they have the tight ends. Their defense, there's some to be desired, but some days they show up. But yeah, offensive line, 1,000,000%.
They can get after the QB. Maybe find a young corner in the draft to add to that secondary. Here's the world I've lived in this season, Tom. Which defense held the Bengals to just 15 points? Which defense held Jamar Chase to 1 reception for 3 yards? Which defense held Joe Burrow to 157 passing yards? Oh, that would be the Denver Broncos. That'd be the Denver Broncos. Just put the death grip on that explosive offense. And yet 15 points was too much for our own offense to score and overcome. That's what's so frustrating when I watch Broncos football. One of the most explosive passing offense in the league. Pat Surtain goes man-to-man with Chase, shuts him down. A brilliant defensive performance. Wasted. Oh, God, I just want a quarterback and a new coaching staff.
I want that for you too, but not my quarterback. Speaking of, I want to talk about the fan base that was firmly in the Green Bay Packers corner last night, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, there were a lot of Eagles fly out there because with a win, they are now in and they have clinched the 7th seed. The 6th is still up for debate because the 49ers, they beat the Texans, but it's between the 49ers and the Saints. Saints coming off with a win against the Panthers, which their defense is so good. They're also a good quarterback away from being really good. But the crazy thing is that the Saints are playing the Falcons next week and the 49ers are playing the Rams. So that's not a gimme. Even though the 49ers, they have the Rams number. First of all, I thought that could be the Sunday night game too, or at least the Saturday night game.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I have that in my best and worst recap. I found that soundbite last night. It's so funny. The Washington football team has given up over 11,000 yards in the last 2 weeks.
Well,
anyway,
did you see, oh my God, I had it. I don't know if I deleted it. No, I didn't delete it. Did you see ESPN screwing up their scoreboard?
Yeah. How many points did the Packers have? 72 or
97 to 10.
Dear God. Dear God, Vikings.
We put up 6. Yeah, like see Jamar Chase do that. 67 points in the 4th quarter. Suck it.
Yeah.
Best offense in the league. Crushed all the records. So that's it. Yeah. Listen, Carson Wentz didn't have to die behind that offensive line. Jalen Hurts hasn't died as much because he run away from it. But the Eagles coming away. Big win. And now they clinch. So
they're in.
You're welcome, Eagles fans. You're welcome.
And, it's a division game, so that's always going to be a little messy.
Yeah.
But Jalen Hurts yesterday, I thought, played better than Carson Wentz did in Indy. So that's a good thing for the Eagles. And the Eagles, kind of like the Titans, I think could upset people in the playoffs.
They could.
They've got, what was their rushing yards yesterday?
I got this.
I know Hurts had like 40, but overall.
Yeah. Hurts Boston Scott 47, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. They had
Jordan
a little
Howard.
over 100.
Yeah.
But okay. So this is what I thought. Like Jonathan Taylor had over 100 rushing yards. Colts lose. He had 108. Taylor's got to get 150 for the Colts to win games. The Eagles, I think it's the same thing. Their rushing attacks got to get 150 in the playoffs to be able to upset some guys. So it's great because you've got these kind of defensive run first teams that are going to be in there. And then we've got the Bengals who are proving they can run the ball, but they're beating people through the air right now. The Chiefs do it that way. So there's going to be some ugly, interesting matchups, I think. And I think the Eagles clinching, they deserve to be in the playoffs more so than the Vikings, obviously, who are eliminated. And even the Saints at this point, because even though the Saints defense is really good, their offense right now is such a mess that
it's so bad.
I don't want to watch them in the postseason. I would much rather watch Philly. So
sorry, inject chicken.
It's shaking up, I think, to be pretty interesting in terms of some of the matchups we might get in the playoffs.
Yeah, right now. So the playoff picture. So there are 6 out of 7 teams in the NFC who have clinched a playoff spot. Packers have clinched home field. Then number 2 is the Rams right now. Interesting. 3 the Buccaneers, 4 the Cowboys, 5 the Cardinals. Right now, the 49ers are in the 6th spot, but they haven't clinched, and the Eagles have clinched the 7th. AFC, so you have 5 teams who have clinched, so you need 2 more. But right now, the Titans, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Patriots, that's the order. They've all clinched a playoff spot. Then, who hasn't clinched? Right now, it's Colts, Chargers. They're in the 6 and 7. Raiders, Ravens, Steelers. The Steelers could technically still make the playoffs. Very difficult, but they could. That's a very Charger stat.
Yeah, if the Steelers lose tonight, they're probably out, right?
Then they're gone.
So the Browns, basically, they can play upset because the Browns were eliminated before they even played. So, interesting.
But you look at these potential matchups. So, like right now, if everything stayed the way that it was going to be, the Rams would play the Eagles. So that'd be the 2 and the 7, right? So that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
3 and 6 would be Buccaneers and 49ers. And then you would have a rematch of the Cowboys and Cardinals.
Love it. Love it all.
And then here, in AFC, you would have Chiefs, Chargers. I think that'd be a fun game. You're having Bengals and Colts.
Ooh.
And then Bills, Patriots.
Ooh. Juicy.
I'm telling you, dude, I have to say, and this is before the Packers clinched, I have not been this excited about the playoffs in such a time because how crazy this NFL season has been. I have no idea who's going to win these football games.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, I cannot wait because there's so many fun matchups because there are some really fun teams that are going to make the playoffs. And it's just going to be wild. Like, I'm curious if it's going to be a team who's going to limp into the playoffs and like they win 3 games and they make it to the Super Bowl.
Right. There's like last year, the Bucks came into the playoffs and they were hot. Like we knew the team was, they had momentum and they were coming in hot. Almost lost to the football team in that first game, but they were hot going into the playoffs. This year, maybe it's the Bengals who are getting hot going into the playoffs, but there is not a clear best team in the NFL. You can maybe argue the Packers being the best team, but even that they have a little bit of an asterisk there in that they're not 100% healthy. They got key guys in and out, and they should be pretty close to as healthy as they've been for that first playoff game. But
3 weeks, baby.
It is nice that it's the bet. Like again, it's the Titans are the number 1 seed in the AFC, and I don't think anybody thinks they're the best overall team, but they just could be when Derrick Henry comes back.
If Derrick Henry comes back, it's a whole different ball game. Like I feel like what they did, the Titans, they were like, okay, guys, we're gonna go in cruise control. We're gonna lose some games, but as long as we just win and do just enough, we just have to wait for Papa Henry to come back. Like he's healing, and then he's training in the hyperbolic time chamber. And he's going to come out and he's going to be like, okay, guys, it's time for the playoffs now.
It's time for
and no one's going to touch me. So
plus
that was good.
They've started to get some nice production out of Donta Foreman.
Oh, Foreman?
Yeah.
Well, he knows how to run a construction site, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and the grill. Donta Foreman. Yeah. Yesterday in that win of the Dolphins, 132 yards. And a touchdown. So even when Henry comes back, they can keep Henry fresh because Foreman, he's been doing a nice job. And it kind of took him a bit to figure out that they could lean on him. So, yeah. Dolphins. Sorry, Dolphins, that you were eliminated.
Yeah, Dolphins got eliminated. Like they got Tua sacked 4 times. They're terrible offensive line. There's only one thing I want to say. Bears, Giants. Giants had -10 total passing yards.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of the Titans, they were the last team to have negative. It was -7 against the Patriots in 2009. So
2009. Yep.
Been a while. Yep. It's been a while.
So that's phenomenal. Falcons and Bills, I want to talk about for a hot second. First of all, Josh Allen, 3 interceptions. Did not throw the ball well. However, you and I have been saying this for quite some time. Yeah, construction worker saving it. For quite some time. They actually ran the ball. Finally, Josh Allen.
Singletary.
Singletary over 100 yards.
110
tutties.
Yeah.
That was great. But Allen also had the 2 rushing touchdowns. The defense shut out the Falcons because it is the Falcons. Like, it is the Falcons still. Like, we got to calm down. But there's one play I want to talk about because I actually saw this live and I was laughing my ass off. Matt Ryan scrambles, runs in for a touchdown, pops up, talks a whole bunch of crap to Jordan Poyer, gets a flag called, but there's another flag before that. The play gets over to, like, it gets called back, so it's not a touchdown. And then they enforce the taunting call on Matt Ryan, and they don't get anything. They get no points out of that drive. So Matt Ryan, who is like the one guy who's very an underrated like QB, but you don't think like he's going to talk a lot of smack. Like he literally was like, oh, I'm so big and nasty. Gets no points. No points. So
yeah, calling taunting on Matt Ryan, that's bullshit. There's just no way around it. And I'm happy that the Bills won, so I'm glad that that flag helped them out. But Allen was not good, but the weather conditions, I think, also affected that game. It was cold and snow on the ground, a little slippery. Allen only completed 11 passes. Matt Ryan wasn't much better. He completed 13. He just didn't throw it to the other team. But Buffalo, close to 240 rushing yards, 230, 240. Again, yeah, it's against the Falcons, but hopefully that's just something they can lean on a little bit if Josh Allen is struggling a little bit in the postseason.
Yeah.
Bills, I don't know. I don't know how good they are or how bad they are.
The game that no one talked about because everyone was like, oh, the Patriots dropped 50 on the Jaguars yesterday.
Yeah.
And we talked about that a little bit. But the game that absolutely no one cared about was the Seahawks dropped 51 on the Lions.
Yeah.
But no one cared. There was like 3 people who had to watch that game and were like, how come I can't watch the Cardinals and Cowboys game? The Seattle Seahawks, though, it is so like them to lose to the Bears on a 2-point conversion in which they allow, and they get eliminated from the postseason, and then they drop 51 the next week. That pretty much sums up the Seattle Seahawks this season.
That was Russ Wilson auditioning for the Broncos, basically.
That's it. The Lions did almost come back. They did. Had that onside kick. So that was the game. And then 49ers beat the Texans. That was a thing. But it was actually close for a little bit.
Trey Lance was all right. Yeah. I think the Texans were winning 7-0 for a while.
I want to say Amon-Ra St. Brown, holy crap, man. He's been, ever since the game-winning catch, the game-winning touchdown against the Vikings, man has been on a tear.
Packers got the wrong Saint. Packers got the wrong Saint.
God, Equinemius St. Brown. We just need to bring them together. But those are the games. Monday Night Football tonight. Browns Steelers. Browns are already out. Steelers, they're barely alive.
They're fighting.
But who knows?
Go Browns.
We've now made it through the entire show.
We did. We ran a little long, but
there's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But folks, we'll be back on the Wednesday for a little GPS. We'll do a dude, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with power rankings this week. I have no idea. I don't know. Who's good? I don't know. Ooh, maybe I could do power rankings today since the Browns and Steelers are definitely not going to be in there.
Boo. I mean, good for you. Do it early.
Maybe. Steelers got show ball. Even if the Steelers win like 69-0, they don't make that. But
yeah, I don't see it.
Folks,
Steelers.
We appreciate it. We had some a pretty great first show. A lot of people tuning into GPS. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you're new turning in, 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We here every other day.
We here to steer you in the right direction. GPS.
It's clear. Yeah, it's like got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Grossi, Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you've been navigated.
And you've reached your destination.